Okay, well, welcome to first PowerPoint video for HSC course for Human Resource Management. Unfortunately, I thought I'd found a way to record these without my head in the bottom of the corner. Turns out, not so much. So you're stuck with me, guys. Sorry about that. Okay, just another reminder about looking at the Learn Tos in the syllabus. The actual HSC questions for section 4 of the exam are always very similar to, if not exactly, one of the Learn To points. Now there are Learn Tos for each of the units. You don't have to answer that many questions in section 4 of the HSC. HSC has 4 sections. Section 1 is multiple choice, section 2 short answer questions, section 3 is business report, and section 4 is an extended response. So it's section 4, the extended response, where these things normally come into play. Okay, here we go. Human Resources, HSC Business Studies. Okay, we start off by looking at the actual role of human resource management. The strategic role of human resource management. So human resource management refers to the management of the total relationship between an employer and an employee. Human resource management sees an employee as an asset rather than a cost and encourages open communication and goal orientation. Now, it's implied in the name alone, human resource management. People are seen as being a resource to the business. They are a fundamental part of what makes a business work. Okay, so let's move forward. Okay, so why is human resources an important business function? Staff costs are generally at least 60% of operational costs, so of the total operational costs. So seeing as it is rather a large investment on a business's part, 60% of their costs goes towards people, it stands to reason that they are an important function within an actual business. Human resource management strategies can retain, keep people, stop them from quitting, reward, both monetary and non-monetary rewards, and motivate effective and skilled employees to achieve the business's objectives. We've mentioned before, you know that an employee that is happy and motivated in their job is always going to give more effort, is going to do a better job, and that's only going to help the business achieve their objectives. And what is the main objective of business? Fundamentally, no matter what nice, beautiful messages they might put out to the public, essentially they're in it to make money. Okay. Businesses with effective practices manage change more effectively, and this enhances their ability to gain a sustainable competitive advantage. In the current day and age we're in, we're all very, very much aware that what is happening out in the world can change very quickly and quite dramatically. Businesses that are able to change the way that they operate in order to meet these new conditions are doing quite well. Those businesses that are not able to change the way they do business are finding it increasingly difficult to remain, what's the word I want? I just want to go back to competitive. They find it difficult to remain competitive in this current environment because they're unable to make changes. So human resources can be very effective in helping with change strategies, because while change can have economic or financial impacts on the business, you have to look at a bunch of different things. Essentially, if the people within the business aren't willing to try and make a change, things are not going to happen. We'll look at change a bit later on. Okay, we're going to look at the interdependence of human resources with other key business functions. This is something that we look at for each of the 4 units, because none of these things operate in a bubble. They are all working parts of a business and they require one another in order for the business to be able to work effectively. Okay, so finances links with human resources, things as basic as funds that are needed to pay for workers' salaries and benefits. And high quality employees can help increase company profit. So money going in, money going out, all based around the human resource function. Operations. Human resources provide staff to produce product or services being offered by the business. The business cannot do its job without people. Yes, some businesses have a very large component of their processing done through automation, but people are still required to come up with the product, come up with the design, to program the machines, to maintain the machines. A human face is required at some point to get new ideas across. An automated system doesn't work alone. It's not serviced by robots. So people are always important in the operations, even if it is a highly automated manufacturing process. Marketing. Okay, strong relationships between employees and their customers leads to trust and loyalty. So that is one way that marketing and human resources work together. Human resources also hire people that have those creative skills that come up with things like marketing plans, new product designs, differentiation of products, packaging. All those creative inputs are possible because human resources have gone and accessed the correct people. Okay. Outsourcing. Outsourcing refers to the contracting out of a business function to an external service provider, usually skilled and experienced in a particular area, such as human resources. So human resource functions that are usually outsourced include things like recruitment obviously, hiring new workers, induction. And we've got welcoming new workers there, but induction quite often has very much a work health and safety feel to it. A lot of jobs in induction is required so that new staff know any evacuation procedures, any work health and safety issues or standards that have to be met on the job. Essentially, an induction allows a new person at a job site or office to be able to know how they fit in, know their areas of responsibility, so that the business flows, I guess. Okay, leadership training. Okay, not just leadership training, which our example here is training to become a CEO or Chief Executive Officer, but a lot of different types of training are usually handled by a third party or an outside source, hence outsourced. That come in to teach new skills or to run workshops about team building. There are many, many examples of different kinds of training that are not run by people that work within a business, that are run by outside sources. Payroll is quite often something that is outsourced. This is organising employees' pay to reach their bank accounts. That means that somebody is going through checking hours, hourly rates, making sure the calculations are correct and deposits are made in the right places. And we'll see that in our next page. Okay, so domestic subcontracting is when local contractors are employed by a firm to provide support services to experts. Our example here is that Coles actually outsourced their payroll management to a Sydney accounting firm. Domestic meaning within Australia, as opposed to global subcontracting. This is when businesses turn to offshore contractors, such as those in India or the Philippines, to reduce costs or to gather intelligence needed for global expansion. Our example here is Telstra, who outsource call centre workers to India. I have nothing to say there. Most of you will have had some kind of call centre experience where there's high likelihood that the person on the other end of the line does not sound like they are answering a phone in Australia. Whether or not you've had success there or not It is outsourced because it is a much cheaper option. Labour rates in some of these other countries where call centres are set up are much lower than Australian wage rates, and so it's more effective for a business, and the business's main aim is to make money. Okay, outsourcing has both advantages and disadvantages. Now, here's our first instance of some videos that I have linked. Now, you cannot click on the link while you're watching it on the YouTube here. You will need to go to the Google Classroom and access the PowerPoint there. Then you can click on either the thumbs up or the thumbs down to see advantages and disadvantages of outsourcing. It's a little bit more information than I'm giving now, and watching the extra videos that I've attached can help deepen your understanding. I highly recommend you go and do that. Okay, advantages of outsourcing. There's the potential to create cost saving for employers, as I just pointed out on the last slide about different wage rates in different countries. There's the idea that they can be accessing new expertise, so they will have access to people that have a different skill set than they might necessarily have been able to find within their own business. It also allows the firm to focus on core activities, for example, promotions, rather than on something that's not their strong suit. So Coles is a business that's in the business of doing food stuff, I suppose. Financial accounting is not necessarily their strong point, so rather than spend their resources getting that happening, they outsource payroll to an accounting firm whose business it is to deal with numbers. Okay, disadvantages. Okay, so we've got potential loss of quality. Sorry, listening to a dog bark. No, it's not my new puppy. Okay, potential loss of quality. If the work is not happening in-house, you don't necessarily know the exact skill level of each individual that's involved in whatever process you're having done in an outsourced capacity. This ties into difficulty in monitoring quality and performance. Again, you can't directly oversee what's not happening within your own workplace. Existing employees may lose jobs or feel insecure. So if a job is outsourced, sent elsewhere because it's cheaper or somebody's more efficient, then somebody at the workplace may lose their job. Or perhaps somebody who's doing a similar role may feel that their job is at risk, and an unhappy employee is not the best employee. So if somebody feels insecure in their job, they're not necessarily going to be doing their best. Okay, so we have a section from an article from the Sydney Morning Herald looking at outsourcing and Qantas. So the levels of toxicity between staff and Qantas will hit new highs this week, with plans for Qantas to outsource flight attendant and maintenance positions. The big concern of the pilots and engineers is the ongoing trend by the company to outsource jobs. For instance, Jetstar flight attendants who are hired in Thailand are paid a fraction of the Australian minimum salary. Jetstar pilots are paid less than Qantas pilots and have fewer conditions, and the company is outsourcing some of its maintenance. Qantas boss Alan Joyce argues that Qantas is operating in a difficult trading environment with record high fuel prices, a blowout in debt from the need to replace its aging fleet over the next decade, vigorous competition on the international sector such as carriers such as Emirates, and a share price that is trading just above its issue price more than 15 years ago. Quick side note, issue price means that when Qantas first became a public company and started trading on the stock exchange, those first lots of shares when it first came out is the issue price. So that's not a good thing. You want to see your share price increase in value over time. You don't want to see it come back down to where it started. Okay, so Qantas boss went on to say, during calm times, It makes the job of a human resource manager easy to outsource key aspects of industrial relations. But when things turn sour, as they have right now, it highlights the need for internal control of the policy. Okay, so many things going on for Qantas. They have had to make some strategic human resource decisions, and that is looking at using outsourcing. Okay, you have 4 questions. Number 1, identify 2 jobs that Qantas is outsourcing. 2, compare the opinions of Qantas management, employees, and the employees' union. Number 3, describe the possible benefits for employers and employees of this outsourcing. Number 4, describe the possible costs for employers and employees of this outsourcing. Now, not all of these answers are specifically written on the page before that I just read out to you. You have to actually think. Okay, so identify the 2 jobs Qantas is outsourcing. It's in the little article. Compare the opinions of Qantas management, employees, and the employees' union. Okay, so you've got to look at the information that you do have and why would management like or dislike this idea of outsourcing, or why would employees or their employees or their unions like or dislike this idea of outsourcing. You have to think. Describe the possible benefits for employers and employees of this outsourcing. Well, that kind of really ties in with a little bit with number 2, but see if you can come up with some benefits for both sides. It might be tricky, but have a go. Number 4, describe the costs for employers and employees of this outsourcing. Okay, the costs, the benefits, and the opinions. Now, they're all three very similar questions, but they are asking different things. So remember, number 2 is opinions, number 3 is benefits, number 4 is costs. So costs is like the negatives if we say benefits is positive. Okay, in your work booklets, you have room to answer these questions. Please look at the number of lines that I've left you as an indication of how much effort I would like you to put into each answer. This again is very similar to the HSC. In the short answer section of the HSC, the number of lines that are left for you in the booklet are an indication of the amount of work that is expected to answer the question correctly. Okay, we also have just a quick question, 2007 HSC. Which of the following best describes outsourcing? A, leasing an asset from another business. B, management considering stakeholders' needs. C, purchasing support services from another business. D, establishing a close long-term relationship between businesses. Okay, it's C, purchasing support services from another business. If you've been paying attention, hopefully that would have been really quite obvious. Okay, you also have another short answer question, this one from the 2008 HSC. EdPro designs software and employs its own software programming team. It plans to outsource programming in 2009. Analyse the possible impact on management and employees of outsourcing programming. 6 marks. Okay, again, look at how many lines I've left here. Have a go at answering the question. Okay, this last slide, seeing as we're living in the world we currently are, I'm going to actually say we won't be doing this. If you had the ability to survey people, if you're allowed to socialise with other humans, then it could be done. Essentially, it was just a bit of an idea of surveying 5 people over the age of 18, currently employed on a part-time, casual, full-time basis, blah, 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 and asking them, okay, when it comes to employment benefits, what do they think is important or unimportant? So how important do they think the idea of paid maternity or paternity leave is? Flexi time, that is being able to change hours, sometimes starting late, finishing early. Telecommuting, that it's working from home, rostered days off each month, performance-based bonuses, paid health benefits, opportunity for regular training and development, opportunity for paid community work, paid overtime, and subsidised gym membership. Essentially, we would have all gone and done one of those surveys and then just come back together in class to discuss what we found out. So, what is it that most people think is more important when it comes to a benefit from their job? Unfortunately, in this day and age, no surveying, so hey, look at that. You missed out on having to do a piece of homework. All right, see you again soon.